Player ratings then. Brighton 0, Everton 0. Still awake. Somehow. Not too sure why or how, but still awake. Yeah. Just dreadful, awful, boring game of football, wasn't it, really? You know, I don't want to bang on too much about injuries because I've done it enough today, but you could clearly see today that having 10, 11 senior members of the squad out injured didn't help us whatsoever. Having said that, there still should have been more than enough quality on that pitch to win that game, but you can have as much quality as you want. If none of them can run, then what's the point? It's like having brilliant basketball players, but them all being 2'3". They're never going to win a game, and that was pretty much the situation today. Yes, we might have had a lot of quality on the ball, but off the ball there was no movement, there was no running, and there just wasn't enough to put up with Brighton's decent midfield, because that's all it is, a decent midfield, and we made it look like prime Barcelona, as we've done many a times this season. Anyway, let's get straight into the play ratings before I go off on a tangent. Robin Olsen, I've given him a 7.5 today, 7.5. Wasn't called upon an awful lot of times, but when he was called upon, he made a couple of nice little saves. Obviously went down early on in the game as well, and sort of was just holding my breath thinking, here we go, another injury to add to the list. But he got back up after a knock with Yerry Mina, tipped one over the bar from Adam Lallana, I believe it was, towards the end of the game, which he was caught just a little bit too forward, and he got back and he tipped it over the bar. Come and collected a couple of corners as well. Yeah, wasn't massively worked today by Brighton. They themselves didn't have an awful lot of clear opportunities. They had a lot more of the ball and they were a lot better with the ball, but they didn't have that quality in the final third to really test Robin Olsen. But what he done well, and that's why I've given him a 7.5. Really didn't really put a foot wrong. Luca Dean, I've given him a 6.5. I wanted to see more from him, to be honest, going forward, and I've wanted to see more from Luca Dean going forward for quite some time now. We all know how good he is, we all know his quality, and look, maybe it's easy to say that when you've not got Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the pitch and he's not really got anybody to aim at, certainly given the work Richarlison was doing, and the majority of that was nowhere near Brighton's goal. But again, we just haven't seen enough of Luca Dean's quality, certainly not offensive quality in recent weeks. We don't really see them balls coming into the box as much as we usually do. You know, we certainly don't see as many assists in recent weeks as we're used to as well. So again, not awful, wasn't really awful defensively as well. Got caught a couple of times, got caught out a couple of times, also recovered on a couple of occasions as well. But yeah, wasn't massively involved either. Some might disagree with me, but I just think he was decent. So he's getting a 6.5. Michael Keane is getting a 6. Thought he got caught out a couple of times sleeping, to be honest with you. Again, you know, playing in that 3 at the back at times when Mason dropped back in, and you had him, Keane, and Godfrey, didn't you? Mason in midfield. I just don't think he can play in a 3 at the back whatsoever, to be honest with you. I really don't. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The reason I don't like the 5 at the back, 3 at the back formation, whatever you want to call it, isn't just because I don't like it and it's a defensive formation or whatever. It's because our players cannot play that formation as well as they can play other formations. Michael Keane just struggles in a 3 at the back for some reason. I don't know whether he just gets confused about his positioning, he gets confused about where he needs to be, but he just can't play as well as he can in a 3 at the back as well as he can play in a 4. He just doesn't seem as demanding, he doesn't seem as comfortable, he doesn't seem as confident. He just seems to be a little bit shaky and a little bit lacking of confidence when he has to play in that formation, and I think you've seen that on a couple of occasions today. There was a couple of times when he let the ball get past him far too easily, a couple of times when he was dilly-dallying on the ball and he got caught with it as well. And yeah, I don't think it was as great as the game, so he's getting a 6. Yerry Mina's getting a 7, obviously went off very disappointingly in the second half with what looked like a groin injury, certainly an injury to his leg after making a challenge. Again, add Yerry Mina to this never-ending list of injuries that Everton have currently got at the moment. Thought he was arguably the best defender on the pitch whilst he was on the pitch for Everton. Very strong, demanding again, won enough every ball, made a really good challenge at one point as well to block, I think it might have been Mopé's effort. Got on the end of a couple of Brighton shots to block them as well, and overall just in the way constantly, and a very solid defensive performance by Yerry Mina. Didn't really put a foot wrong whatsoever, got in the way of the majority of efforts that come to him, and also made a couple of decent last-ditch tackles as well. Hopefully it's nothing serious whatsoever for Yerry Mina. Hopefully he can shake it off and be back for that game against Tottenham on Friday, because we desperately need them back. But yeah, I thought he had a really solid game today, so he's getting a 7. Ben Godfrey's getting an 8 again. Another very, very good performance from Ben Godfrey. Very similar to, the other three defenders. Didn't have a massive amount to do. Brighton were getting forward and were getting into dangerous areas, but they didn't have that cutting-edge quality to really hurt us. Ben Godfrey made an unbelievable challenge towards the end of the game. What you would call a match-winning challenge if Everton were any good and could go and win a match. It was a fantastic challenge. I think Danny Welbeck was through on goal, and he was almost certainly scoring, because although he's maybe not as good as he once was, he's got a natural goal scoring ability, and he was burying that all day long, and Ben Godfrey comes sliding in to make the block, and it's an excellent block. He also done it on a couple of occasions as well when Brighton counter-attacked. Ben Godfrey was the only Everton defender with enough pace to get back into sort of to stop those attacks, and luckily enough he done it on every occasion. I thought he was a brick wall today, again defensively, and he's such an important player for this Everton team. He's so versatile. He can play in a back three, he can play in a back five, in a back four, he can play right back, left back, centre midfield, and he's always seems to be that defender that you should think, thank God Ben's there. Thank God Ben's got the pace to keep up with Mopay. Thank God Ben's got the pace to keep up with Welbeck. Thank God Ben Godfrey stepped in there and made that challenge. He's just always the last line of defence. And again, I thought he put in 2, 3, 4 really, really good blocks and challenges today that ultimately saved Brighton from going and having a clear opportunity at goal. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, again, they did have a couple of opportunities, but again, I think if it wasn't for Ben Godfrey, they'd have had a lot more. So he's getting an 8 today. Seamus Coleman, I've actually given him an 8 as well, to be honest with you. I think he continued from his performance against Palace. Really, really good against Palace last Monday, and I thought he was decent today. Done really well for the one shot on target that we had. I know saying we had one shot on target, it's ridiculous, but the one shot on target we had from Hammers actually come from Seamus Coleman. Not only winning the ball back, but keeping it in a good area, not going backwards with it, going forward and playing a brilliant ball into James Rodriguez, who ultimately had the shot and it went out for a corner. I think he was getting forward a lot today. There was a lot of ball busting runs. He had one in the first half as well where he lashed it into Tom Davies, and Tom Davies just 10 bob heads it, and it goes nowhere near the goal. But it was a great run from Seamus Coleman, and it was a really dangerous ball into the area. And if it had been Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin or anybody else for that matter, it'd have been a good opportunity at goal. Like I said, I thought he done well today. Defensively, did he get caught a couple of times? Yes, he did. But stepping forward, I think he looked confident, to be honest. And it was a better performance than that of any of the other defenders, barring Ben Godfrey. So I've given Seamus an 8 today. Gylfi Sigurdsson is getting a 5.5. Look, again, I said this in the instant match reaction, and I've talked about it before. Everton have got a lot of good footballers. Tom Davies, good footballer. Gylfi Sigurdsson, good footballer. Andre Gomez, good footballer. James, good footballer. I'll discount James because he's exceptional. But Gomez, good footballer. Sigurdsson, good footballer. Davies, good footballer. And what I mean by good footballer is that when they've got the ball at their feet, they're decent. They can play passes. They can get themselves out of tight situations with their one-touch play. Their movement's all right. Off the ball, the three of those I've just mentioned, I've got no energy whatsoever. Not 1 ounce of energy to keep up with any other midfield in the Premier League. Yves Bissouma today ran rings around our midfield because he just needed a little bit of energy. And he's already got a lot because he's a brilliant player. But he just needed that little bit of energy. And he was first to every ball. Every drop ball he was first to. Every time it broke, he was there. There's just not enough energy, and as for as much as Gylfi Sigurdsson did decent football and got himself involved on a couple of times and stuck his foot in, off the ball he was atrocious today. He was ghosting it. He was nowhere to be seen, and that's the issue with this Everton team. Is you take Abdoulaye Doucouré out of it, and it's like watching 12 90-year-olds. It's like watching walking football. I said in the instant match reaction, I felt like I was watching walking football where the players are being told they're not allowed to run. And that's what happens when you take a player like Abdoulaye Doucouré and his energy out this team. I can't express how urgently and how much of a priority bringing in another midfielder with energy is this summer. Go and buy Yves Bissouma. Go and spend 50, 60 million on him, because he's a brilliant player, and he is exactly what we need for a situation like this when Abdoulaye Doucouré is out injured. Tyler Onyonga's probably the only other one, and he's got to have surgery. He's out injured. So like I said, for as alright as Sigurdsson was on the ball, off the ball, he was atrocious. He was absolutely atrocious today. He was standing around for large parts of the game. And yeah, again, you might say, well, on the ball he was decent, so he deserves a higher score. That's fair, but ultimately, when you're being overrun by Brighton, who were suffering, who were trying to survive in the Premier League, it's not good enough. On to Tom Davies then, same score, 5.5. not enough energy with him whatsoever at all. Again, good on the ball, come forward a couple of times, couple of nice little turns, won a couple of fouls in decent areas as well. But off the ball, just no real movement, no real energy. Again, the heading in the first half is poor. He should do a lot better with it. I don't think he was awful today, Tom. Again, maybe a 6 it'd be more warranted, but he was just average. And unfortunately, when you've got 10 senior players out, those on the pitch, average isn't good enough. You need to be exceptional. Nobody was exceptional tonight. Tom Davies certainly wasn't. I'll probably up his score to a 6, just an average 6. You know what? I'll give Sigurdsson a 6 as well. No, Sigurdsson's staying a 5.5. Mason Holgate is getting a 6. Obviously stepped into the centre of midfield today for the first time since the first time he played there against Manchester United a year or so ago. Done all right. Couple of nice passes, to be fair. Couple of nice balls weighted into Seamus Coleman down that right-hand side to get us going. Overall, yeah, just all right. Not enough movement coming forward. Probably didn't do anything wrong in terms of passing wise. Didn't really give the ball away many a times. Wasn't really caught. Won the ball back a couple of times with good pace and good possession. I think when we went to a 4 at the back, he might have moved to right back. He was at left back at one point as well when Dean was pushed forward. Yeah, he was all right. He was all right. Nothing more, nothing less. Again, average. And average isn't good enough, so he's getting a 6. James is getting an 8. I think James was arguably the best player on the pitch in an Everton shirt if it's not for Ben Godfrey. He was everywhere today, and look, you don't necessarily want James Rodriguez to be everywhere. He was dropping to defensive areas, he was picking the ball up, he was moving it forward, he was picking it up on the edge of the box. He had the only shot on target of the game. He was trying to find space on the edge of the box, and like I said, if you look at James' heat map today, you'll probably see he probably covered every blade of grass, if you like, and that's why he gets such a high score, because his work rate was, you can't knock it. He was literally everywhere. He wanted the ball, he wanted to make something happen. You could see he really wanted to go out and get that, will ultimately get the winner and win that game of football. But I don't want James Rodriguez picking the ball up from the centre-backs, because if James Rodriguez was a ball-carrying midfielder, which he's not, and that's fine because he's not that player and we never expect him to be that player, then great, because he could pick it up from the defenders, he could take 6 players on, he could get to the edge of the box, he can shoot. He's not that player. He's a player that picks it up in their area and finds a world-class pass to somebody to create a chance, or creates his own opportunity by getting into a good area and shooting from maybe just outside the box or just within the box. He's not going to do that picking the ball up in our own half. And ultimately, he's not got the energy or the pace to turn and beat 6 men, because he's not that type of player. And like I said, that's fine, but that means when he's picking the ball up from the centre half, there's something wrong, really. And by there's something wrong, it means that we're massively missing the core and Alan and Gomez and Sigurdsson and Davis aren't doing the job properly, because James shouldn't have to be coming to do that. But like I said, his work rate was you can't knock his work rate. He was trying to make something happen. He was trying to get the ball. He was trying to move it forward. But ultimately, he couldn't make it happen today. But again, like I said, I don't think you can really fault his work rate whatsoever. And Richarlison have given him a 5.5. Struggled, and I understand it. It was a struggle for Richie today. On his own up top for pretty much the entirety of the game. Had a couple of times when the ball was just absolutely lashed to him and he was expected to take it down and turn and beat 6 men. I get it was a difficult afternoon for Richarlison, I understand that, and I don't particularly think he had the worst game ever, certainly considering the circumstances, but there was a couple of times when he was wasteful with the ball. There was a couple of times when we're the odd attack that we had, the odd time that we actually got forward, he wasn't really in the areas he needed to be in. He wasn't in the box, he wasn't on the end of that header from Seamus Coleman, for example. He could have done with being on the edge of the box instead of Alex Iwobi for that shot in the last minute. He wasn't. And yeah, I just think he was quiet today. And I don't particularly blame him. I don't think the system treated him well whatsoever, but ultimately, he was quiet, and that's all we can rate him on. Onto the bench then. Yeah, I think that's everybody. Yeah, that's everybody. Onto the bench then. Alex Iwobi, 4. Simple, really, 4. Really? What did he do? Except from blast one over with 2 minutes to go when we really needed the winning goal. Again, he comes on to insert energy and pace into the team, and he done a nice little bit of skill on the edge of the box that I think he should have won a foul for, to be fair. But other than that, he didn't really inject any space or any energy or pace into the team, did he? Really, there was times that I was really frustrated with Alex Iwobi tonight, because there was times with a minute and a half to go, where he's standing in the middle of the park and he's not chasing balls, he's not running after it, he's not putting pressure on defenders, he's just sort of stood there. And it's like, you've literally been on the pitch 5 minutes and you're not even going to chase the ball down. I don't care what Carlo said. I don't care if Carlo said stay back and don't run at players. It's 0-0 against Brighton here. We need, if we were a fight for Europe, which is gone now. Forget Europe, it's out the window. We haven't got the we haven't got the consistency. We haven't got the quality with the injuries that we've got, and other teams have got both of those. So Europe's gone. If we finish in Europe, it'll be a miracle, by the way. But I'm not even talking about it anymore. But why not just go and put some pressure on the defender? Why not go and go, actually, you know what? I'm full of energy here. Excuse the pun, but I'm full of beans here. I need to go and, do something, make something happen. It was a pointless substitution. And Nathan Broadhead, yeah, I'll give him a 6. To be fair, I don't know if he touched the ball, to be honest, but he come on for his debut, and for me, he should have been on 20 minutes beforehand, and should now Zinkunku have been. But yeah, there you go. Look, there are the player ratings. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on them in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to check out the Football News 365 app. Keeps you up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, all of that good stuff. And yeah, not good enough. But probably the most boring game of football you'll see all season, to be fair. First 0-0 draw of the season as well. First 0-0 draw in 36, 37 games, something like that. And yeah, it was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. And yeah, we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching.